Hey everyone. In this video, I want to introduce the practical application of how to tap in and use your Dantian in order to not only clear emotional stagnation, but activate the total potential of our bodies. The premise of this video is understanding that we're all in the process of activation, right? This is the process of fully incarnating into our being here. And a huge component of this is accessing our physical structure. And in order to fully access our physical structure, we have to activate the energetic components of this physical structure. Now, moving into the Dantian is something that, if you're familiar with, you're probably familiar with it from a Tai Chi lineage or Qigong or Ne Kun. And it really doesn't get the justice that it deserves, because the Dantian is kind of everything when it comes to accessing our physical body, especially our energy. A lot of people are familiar with the chakra systems, but the Dantian is something that just doesn't get talked enough about. The reason why the Dantian is so important is because if you can access the Dantian through the practices that I'm gonna go over, then you can not only clear all of the emotional stagnation in your body, but it gives you the tools to be able to access not just the emotions that are churning and getting in the way of the pool of energy that ultimately is the Dantian, but you can access any locks in your body, any diseases, any blockages. Through these very simple practices, you'll be able to fully and wholly unlock the entire potential of your body. And they're very simple. That's the beauty of life, is that if something is very complicated, then it's probably misunderstood. It's probably missing some steps, because the natural cycle of life is very simple. It's a very simple design. And I would say that moving into this alchemical process of healing and incarnating in your body, the key component is to switch out of the mind. So if you can switch to witnessing yourself, experiencing this moment, right? If you're listening to me in this video, then I want you to take that awareness and to really witness yourself experiencing whatever you're experiencing. And just take note of where that experience is happening. So as I'm talking to you in this video, I notice that my perception is more in my head, right? And it's more in my thoughts. I'm using my thoughts. I'm conjuring up the ideas that I wish to speak, and it's all happening more up here. Now, the shift that I want to introduce here is to be able to take the awareness up here and to be able to move it anywhere in your body. This might be a little bit abstract at first, but if you take the time and the due diligence to sit down with yourself, then it will start to click into place. And if you can learn to shift your awareness into any part in your body, then that right there is the skeleton key. I call this conscious cartography because you're taking your consciousness and you're moving it anywhere that you want. And I like to pay homage to the respect that we are born into these bodies, and it's relatively foggy to us, right? Nobody teaches us how to really utilize these bodies, how to utilize these mechanisms. And it's up to us to really re-explore this process. And that's why I call it cartography, is because I'm sure, like most of you, as well as for myself, this was a process of seemingly exploring a new frontier, to be able to move my awareness into my hips that for my entire life were very locked up, that were very numb, and I was disassociated from. I didn't have full connection to the full articulation of my hips. It was a process of exploring a new frontier. And it was something that I had to learn a lot of different practices to be able to move my awareness, my consciousness, my energy, my chi into areas that I otherwise previously could not access. So introducing the fundamental step I call conscious cartography. It's the practice, and it's as well as the concept of being able to move your awareness and to be in a different place other than your mind, right? And what helps too is, right, this is all an internal process. This is internal alchemy. This is not about external Not yet anyway. That's going to be a huge component following on, but I'm just going to go ahead and bridge this with you. This is all internal. All these locks inside of you, that's an internal practice. That is how you unlock your body, right? They talk about how you can't diagnose a disease with the same organ in which it's associated with, or something like that, right? And I just want to go ahead and say that that's total bullshit. That's actually the exact thing that we're here to do. If you have a lock in your body, then you have to go within that lock in order to unlock it. That includes both the abstract experience of madness, right? Which is, a form of chaos that takes place in the mind. It's only through the madness that you can access and unlock the full potential of your mind. If you have heartache, or if you have blockages in your heart, through the lock, that's how you're going to unlock the full potential of your love. If you have a diseased liver, through that liver, that's going to be how you reconnect to that liver and are able to detox it. You can do all of this with conscious cartography and follow-on steps that I'm going to teach, because the total practice that I'm aiming for here in my articulation is to be able to reclaim every part of your body from the inside. There is an external component in discovering this process, which is utilizing external force to create pressure, and as well as stimulate sensation that you can connect to. For instance, if I want to repair my sinuses inside my face, sometimes it's hard to just sit there and to just feel into the sinuses, right? That's what I'm ultimately going for, is I'm trying to reconnect to that part of my body from the inside. So because that's numb, for instance, my right sinus is fairly numb to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create external pressure, and I'm just going to hold it. And what I like to say here is, when you're pushing on a part of your body, I want you to feel, right? Because I'm going to stop saying think. And if I say think and I don't mean to say think, I want you to correct me on it. But I want you to feel, what are you actually feeling? Are you feeling the sensation of your thumb touching your face? Or are you feeling the sensation of your face being touched by your thumb? Now, of course, it's going to be both, but what I want to instill here is your ability to focus more on one than the other. Because I'm trying to connect with my sinuses, I don't want to actually feel with my thumb. I want to use the pressure created by my thumb to move that awareness into my face. And once I can connect to my face, then I can just sit there in the sensation of that pressure until it starts to move. Now here we're going to start to get into more elaborate steps. So I'm just going to take a pause here, because this is really one of the first steps. This is being able to highlight and illuminate different parts of your body from the inside with your awareness. Again, it's all sensation. And what I say here is that pain is the lock that needs to be broken. Pain is a sensation, right? There's nothing good or bad about it. It merely is a signal. And what I actually say is that the sensation is the signal of your body trying to heal that lock. So if you have pain somewhere, you want to use that pain, and you want to isolate the pain with your awareness until you can go inside the pain. Once you're inside the pain, the epicenter of the pain, that's when the pain will start to move. And when that pain starts to move, the sensation itself is like moving through the lock, and it's going to start to create geometry. It's going to start to create emotions, right? Trigger emotions. It might even trigger memories. And all of these things, right? The emotions, the memories, these are just happening. We can take note of them, but ultimately in this practice, healing is a mechanical art, and it's electromagnetic, really. But I like to say mechanical because we are moving the fascia, we're moving the bones, we're moving the chi, and there is an element of mechanics to that. And when you're moving these locks, it's all about maintaining your focus and your awareness in that epicenter. No matter how much it changes, no matter how painful it is, if you can keep pushing through that and not get sidetracked or distracted by things that are happening in the mind, or the intensity churning in the dantian from the emotions, if you can maintain yourself in that sensation, in that signal, you'll notice a very abstract process unraveling. And it's up to you to just sit there and intuitively go through it. That is the key component here. Is it's nothing that you have to confabulate with the mind. This process has an intuitive sense to it, and all you really have to do is show up for it. If you can sit in the dull aching pain or the piercing pain or whatever it is and separate your identity to it as a bad thing, but really just honing in with precision into that sensation, eventually it will start to create a process and it will start to sequence itself through it. And it always comes full circle. Just like everything in life, there's a lot of layers to it. So, I've been working specifically on my face for about 5 years now, every single day for hours. It gets very addictive, which is a good thing because it's all healing. But when you're able to go through the process, you'll notice that it'll start to illuminate something inside your body, wherever it is, right? It might look like geometry, it might be whatever it is. I don't know what it's going to be for you, right? Every lock is totally unique, and each one of them is kind of like its own little story. So what I just harp on here is to show up for the story, to show up for the sensation, to keep pushing through it, to keep allowing yourself to be in the abstract process that healing really is. And so that's that. I think that's a good start right there. Conscious cartography, finding the pain, finding the sensation, finding the locks, and just showing up and going in them. Now, that is a very more or less specific direction of healing specific things within the body, which is subjective for everybody. And what I want to plug in next is a more objective, broad spectrum idea, which is everybody needs to have a connection to their Dantian. Everybody needs to have a connection to their whole body, really is what it is. But this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to connect to our body. Maybe there's not a specific point of pain or a specific lock that's compelling you to heal yourself and activate. And that's amazing if that's the case. But everybody needs to have full connection to that endless pool of energy that is your Dantian. So what they teach in these ancient Chinese lineages, because it's far more ancient than Taoist as well, although a lot of times they'll be called Taoist immortal lineages. But essentially in your human biocomputer, right, the template that makes up our physical manifestation, there's this energetic compound, and that's what we really live in, right? That's what our awareness, our consciousness, that's how it travels, is through that energy. Now at the base of our torso is what's called the lower Dantian. And this is really like a bowl at the bottom of your pelvis. And if you think about, if you're familiar with the perineum, that's really like at the bottom of it, right? It's like your root chakra. And just being able to sink the weight down is like the best place to start. A lot of times if we're experiencing a lot of anxiety or emotional turmoil, it's all felt like in the lower gut here, right? Sometimes you have that fluttering up in the heart, but for the most part, that stagnation really is in the lower Dantian, because this is a reservoir, it's an ocean of energy. And the more that you fill it, the more energy that you will be able to pull from, the more vitality you'll be able to access. That's why harnessing the power of the Dantian is super key. It's because this is everything. This is the root. This is the foundation of your vitality, is having an energy pool that you can draw from, that you can pull from. There's a lot of different ways that you can fill that reservoir, that you can activate it with energy. But the first thing is you have to connect with it, right? This is where conscious cartography comes into place. Now I'm going to play off of two key concepts here of how to fill your body, how to travel throughout your body. And it's yin and yang. The yang practice is something that I call shunting or pressurizing. If you're familiar with the practice of shunting, right? Like shunting blood, you're essentially you're pressurizing your body and you're pushing that blood to go where you want it to. This is a practice that pilots do to shunt blood into the brain. Well, you can shunt blood anywhere as long as you can create pressure in the body, hold the pressure, and then to be able to push it. Once you're able to push, then you can start to learn how to direct it. And these are a lot of different steps, right? So you'll learn this over time if you want to practice this. But this is how you can actually move chi in your body, right? Blood is just flowing with chi. So really, what you're doing is you're just pushing the energy where you want it to go, where it can go, where it needs to go, right? This is you and your body and your energy. So that's the yang, right? And I'm just going to demonstrate real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my inhale, and then I'm going to hold it, and that's going to create the pressurized container, pressurizing through the inhale. Then I'm going to push, and I'll try to demonstrate how I can use a directional force to shunt the chi into different parts of our body. And a lot of this has to do with flexion too, but I'll demonstrate regardless. Well, I guess sometimes there's just a lot of concepts that need to be laid out in order for this whole kind of abstract process to make sense. Because there's different places that you can breathe into, right? I can breathe low, I can breathe, middle, I can breathe side, I can breathe chest. And that kind of determines where that chi will go to be able to pressurize it. For instance, if I want to breathe into my lower dantian, then that creates a nice pressurized environment down here that I can shunt blood through my legs. If I want to shunt blood into my brain, what I want to do is I want to breathe high and up, and then hold it, and then squeeze, and then I can push and shunt blood and chi up through my carotid arteries into my brain. So I guess I'll show you just one of them. But I'm going to inhale, hold the inhale, pressurize, push. The better you get good, the more, how do I want to say that? The better you get at being able to hold the breath and then squeezing, like pushing, creating that pressurized environment, and then holding that pressure, holding that squeeze, just the more effective you will be at shunting that energy into places that have been stagnant for a long time. So that's the yang approach, right? Very yang, right? Creating pressure and squeezing it into a direction. The next one is yin, right? And this might look like lying down and being in stillness, and then just shifting your awareness where you want it to be. This is a great practice when it comes to breaking through numbness. Numbness is one of the more challenging things to move through, because if there's pain, you have a very tangible sensation to connect to and to push through. When it's numb, it feels like you're almost pushing into nothing, like you don't have any connection, like it doesn't exist, which is the exact reason why you want to get in there and move through the numbness. A lot of times what I found is first there might be numbness, and then through the numbness you'll find pain, if you're lucky, because it's easy to connect to. Then you can push through the pain and unlock the lock, break the lock. But the yin approach is really nice for accessing the numbness, and it's a good test of your awareness, because to me there's almost nothing more maddening than sitting into a space that you feel doesn't even exist. There's something slightly uncomfortable about that for me. If I'm lying in bed and I'm trying to feel into my left hip and I just can't feel it. but I just try to sit there and there's almost like a sense of force where I have to keep persistency with being in a spot that I don't have connection with. But that's what it is. It's just to keep showing up for it, to keep trying to connect with these parts of ourselves that we haven't had connection to in a long time, right? If you're feeling overwhelmed and you're experiencing a lot of emotional turmoil, if you can't breathe, this is what I realized with fear, is that if you are experiencing fear, the fear is inside of your body and it is blocking off these passageways that are preventing the chi from being able to move, right? That's what creates that reaction, right? If there's a freeze, fight or fawn reaction, it's because the fear is controlling and constricting these pathways that we'd otherwise be able to access with our willpower and to create the action we want. So if you're experiencing fear, then you can check in with yourself with your objective awareness and be like, oh, I have fear. It's located somewhere inside my body. Then you can sink down into the gut and find the sense of discomfort. And once you put yourself in the discomfort, then you can slowly start to breathe into it. And sometimes you can't breathe into it. I've experienced this a lot, where the fear is so tense that I am shunting as hard as I can, but it almost seems like there's this lead barrier inside of my gut and I'm not able to push into it. So maybe try a yin approach, right? Sink the weight of your body, right? When you close your eyes, where is the weight? Where are you holding yourself? Where's the gravity? Where's that electromagnetic connection to the earth, right? Put all that into a sensation and then drop it. Just sink it right down through your hips. And eventually things will start to move. Just like if you shunt it. If you shunt it, eventually you will push chi into that and you will start to move it. Life is situational, dependent. But these are just key practices that if you keep doing them and you develop a personal, intimate relationship with, then you're going to get really good at it. Like I've gotten really good at it through practice, through experimentation. All right, so going back to the yin approach, right? We're lying in bed, is struggle today of emotional turmoil. Sink the weight, feel where it is, isolate, locate that sensation, that turbulence, and then just breathe into it. Just slowly breathe into it. And what you're doing is you're trying to illuminate your whole body with your awareness. If you can breathe into every part of your body, then you have access to your body. If there are areas that are numb, that are locked up, that are in pain, that you don't have access to, then you're not really in that part of your body. And that's how disease happens, right? So if you have liver disease, use this practice to get inside that organ. And if you are inside that organ, our body is made for this. Our body knows how to detox everything. Our body knows how to heal itself, right? That's the other fundamental principle to understand with this. That's the premise, is that our bodies have a paragon blueprint, and this is how we access it. It's as simple as putting your awareness into every part of your body, and that's how you access the blueprint. That's how you heal yourself. That's how you reclaim your power. That's how you reclaim your energy. That's how you fully incarnate into this being, is to be able to be inside your own body. So I went over, key concepts, accessing your Dantian, breathing into the Dantian, breathing into stagnation, numbness, pain, being able to access these locks. I talked about the yin approach, sinking the weight, feeling, right? The yin is more about feeling. It's not necessarily about using tension or flexion in your body. It's about letting go and allowing your awareness, like this little stream of fog or light, really, I should say. It's like a stream of light, to just gradually start to enter these crevices of your body, right? That's the yin approach. The yang approach is creating a pressure inside your body, holding the pressure, and then squeezing the pressure. Again, there's layers to this, right? So if you have a balloon, you can squeeze the balloon, right? And then, the air within the balloon starts to push out whichever way it can go. The next level is to be able to control which way the pressure goes, to create a directional force with the pressure. Another cool one here is a lot of things are in the face. A lot of things are in the face, right? I always say that, and Chinese medicine depicts that too, I believe. But the face is like this computer screen between your brain and your major organs. So what's shown here is just a reflection of up here and in here. So luckily you can clean the pathways of energy that flow between the brain and the organs by cleaning up this, which is why I do so much work on my face, because it's the in-between. It's like the juxtaposition. A good way to create pressure to heal the brain and to heal this little, computer screen almost, is to do something. It's called Valsalva in scuba diving nomenclature terminology, but to create pressure, pushing through the nose, and then a lot of this is being able to hold it, right? Anybody can just create pressure and then let go, but if you can hold it for an extended period of time, right? Like I'll hold it for 30 minutes, right? It's just simple little tricks like that, right? From there, I can already feel the blood, the chi shunting through my eyeballs. And then from there, I'm able to determine how much force is coming out each eye, which ultimately I want to equalize, but also the ear canal, right? Which gives space for the jaw, and then the brain as well, the different components of the brain, the 12 convolutions. So I think that's enough information for right now. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just in the process of taking all this information, all these practices that I've been doing for several years now, and trying to make content with them, because it's been absolutely incredible the amount of healing I've done in my own body, as well as healing just all of my faculties, right? Because if you heal the body, then you're also healing your emotional body, you're healing your mental body, and you're reconnecting with your spirit, which is something that I want everybody to have access to. And I believe that this is a very simple and practical way of doing it. So let me know what you guys think. I hope this was of value to you. I hope you guys are, just having your own genuine experience on your path. And I hope it's going whichever way it is for you. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.